he played a mobster in the hit show Sopranos, Joseph R. Gannascoli joins us today to talk about life after The Sopranos and his new book, A Meal to Die For, a culinary novel of crime. Joe, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure, Alicia. How are you?
Doing great. And how are you doing? What have you been up to since The Sopranos ended?
I've got my finger in a few pies. I'm keeping busy. Still doing the acting thing. And working with Bright Steps Forward, and I have a new cigar coming out, and busy with my pasta sauces and olive oil.
Oh, right. So very busy. Not a lot of time to miss your former crime family, but do you miss them a bit?
We see each other on different occasions, different charities and events, so we keep busy.
All right, and while we're talking about The Sopranos, I have to ask about the last episode that left fans hanging. What are your thoughts on what happened to Tony?
You know, I don't know what happened. My screen went blank.
Well, your character, Vito, was married with 2 children, but he was also a closeted gay man. It was an incredible storyline. It became so prominent. What was that like, playing a gay mafioso?
You know, it was interesting. If there's any baseball fans out there, I always thought it was like kissing Robin Yount. And of course, if you're a baseball fan, it's not bad because he was a Hall of Famer. But you know, he looked like him, and it was. I happened to know the guy that played him, John Costello. Early in my career, we had he was a friend of mine, and I was very surprised when I walked in to do the read-through that it was him. But it was something that I thought was interesting. From a book I was reading, I brought to the attention of the writers and said, you know, this is something that people don't usually see when they think about mob, especially Sopranos. And you know, I said I'd be willing to do it. So if you want to do it, let's do it.
All right. And now during the show, you also lost a tremendous amount of weight, over 100 pounds. Tell us, how did you lose the weight?
Pickle juice.
Huh?
That's all I drank was pickle juice.
That's your secret. Now let's talk about your book. What inspired you to write a book, and tell us about your skills in the kitchen?
Well, I was a chef for many years before I got into acting. I worked in Manhattan and New Orleans and Los Angeles and Boston. And it's a cookbook novel loosely based on my life as a chef, and about 25 of my favorite recipes from all different cuisines that I've come across while working in different kitchens.
So cooking, writing, acting, and I know that you're very passionate, as you mentioned, about the Bright Steps Forward organization. Tell us about that.
Bright Steps Forward, well, I met the founder, Eileen, and the president, Annette. I was doing an appearance and signing of my book in Florida, and they had approached me, and we talked back and forth. And I get approached, and I guess a lot of us do, about doing different charities. But this one struck something in me. I went to their clinic and watched the work that these therapists were doing with these kids, and the expressions of the parents, you know, seeing that the progress that these kids were making. And Bright Steps Forward is a nonprofit charity that raises money and funding for kids, disadvantaged kids that are in need of intense physical therapy, that have disabilities like cerebral palsy, autism, and severe brain trauma. And it helps them tremendously. You know, most therapies for kids with those disabilities, they have maybe a half hour a day, 3 times a week. But at therapies for kids, they get 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and the use of hyperbaric oxygen, which helps cerebral palsy, severe brain trauma, and autism. So, you know, otherwise, it helps them do things that, you know, like stand up and hold their head up and lift their arms, and it's been, I got a friend of mine, a fellow actor named Nesta Serrano's child involved, and they're extremely happy with the progress they've made in a month.
That is great work. And now, looking quickly toward the future, I have to ask, could we ever see a Sopranos movie?
I hope not, because I wouldn't be in it. But, you know, I think that everybody pretty much wanted to move on. And it's you know, it's run its course. I think in 86 hours, I think they've said everything they had to say. But then again, what do I know? So I guess if they think of something interesting and a way to do it, they will. But I think some of the main stars have moved on.
All right, well, Joe, as a fan, I am going to keep my fingers crossed on that one. And I want to thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations with everything that you have going on.
Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate it.
Andy, you can check out his book, A Meal to Die For, at bookstores everywhere. Now, that's all the buzz that we have for you today, but make sure to check us out on demand at the entertainment section at abcnews.com. I'm Alicia Davis in New York. Thanks so much for watching this edition of What's the Buzz?
Good things just got better. Introducing an all-new third hour of Good Morning America.
Welcome to Good Morning America Now.
Good Morning America Now. Good Morning America Now.
On ABC News Now.
Get your Good Morning America now at abcnewsnow.com.